Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is talking about, well, how do you tactically get an edge on your opponents? How do you know what formation to deploy, what individual instructions to deploy, what team instructions? How do you get a better insight? So if I head over to one of my clubs, Peacocks, my main club, fairly competitive league to be honest. There's a lot of teams around similar sort of MMR rating as myself, some ones that are quite a bit higher, and then a few that are outliers towards the lower part of the league. But it's been a solid start, but I'm looking ahead to other fixtures and thinking, okay, those that are further up the table, Longside, Kings Mountain, Principe, who are alongside me, Sidewinders, who are on 2 wins themselves, very strong squad, late registration. So what insights can I gather using AI to get ahead of the scene? So what I wanted to share with you today, I shared a little snippet in my last video. It was, how do you gather the information from a match to find out, okay, how are they playing? What are their strengths and weaknesses? And how could you use AI to speed up what you could do, really honestly, with your own 2 eyes, but looking for a different perspective, getting almost a set of data that AI will set up for you, and then use that data for you to do your own analysis. So what I'm going to do is show you my version momentarily, and then I'll show you how I went about doing it so you can look to do it yourself. Catch you in a second. So I've brought you over to my version of what I've set up after the first 3 rounds of fixtures. I have hidden on column A all the different teams in my league. Don't particularly want to sit there and start putting anyone's team on blast on the internet. I don't think that seems very fair. But here is the analysis for all my opponents in the first 3 fixtures, all the matches they've played, and in particular what formations they've deployed. If you see 442-002, it's 442 version B. It's just the way it's coded on the site. I'm not really that bothered about leaving it. I know what it means. It highlights their key players and their overalls. It gives you an average overall for their starting 11, their key strengths from the way they play and key weaknesses, their tactical tendencies so far. I've also been putting in my own team's games, so I can look to do some analysis as to, okay, here's how I like to play. What could I consider doing differently if I wanted to do so? Test out and try something a little bit different. And this is the same for all round 3 fixtures now, which I'm going to keep adding to and building to and building to. A lot of information here. Could you do this without AI? Yeah, you could. You could sit there and just eyeball it, and I know a lot of managers will. If you're wanting to set up your own process of doing this, where I set this up yesterday and refined it, today I logged on half an hour before I'm recording this and downloaded all the data for the matches that for the round 3 matches, and then I've imported it through AI into this tool. So let me show you how you go about setting that up. So I've just navigated over to my fixture last night. As you can see, comfortable 7-0 victory. Might look a bit more comfortable, maybe it was. As you can see there, my goalkeeper, man of the match with a 9.7 rating. But overall, very solid performance. What I've shown previously in one of my previous videos, like a very introductory way of doing this, was screen grabbing all the images from this page, importing it into AI, letting it scan the images and gather the data that way. What I'm going to show you instead is the developer window tool. So if you press F12 on a Windows computer, on a web page, you'll see this sort of console. What you need to do here straight away is just reload the page. Refreshes the page, it loads up all the different inputs that go into this particular web page to gather all the data pertaining to what's being displayed here, including the match report, including all the various windows you can look here of every single team. You're going to want to navigate to the line that says there's a numerical value attributed to it, and it says with formations. When you're there, right click to copy and copy a response. At that point, I personally recommend using a notepad just because it's easier to import all the code into there and save it as a .txt file. You can do this on Google Docs, but then you'll need to download it. Same premise for like a Word document if you wanted to do it. Whatever the case is, you want to import the code that's just been gathered there. So I'm going to navigate over to a blank version. As you can see at the top of my window, loads of the fixtures that I've just imported for round 3. But control paste, there you go. All the data pertaining to everything that was displayed and fed into that is all featured here. I've then just saved it to the computer. I've been giving them names. As you can see, I've been getting very organised. All my league game fixtures, round 1, round 2, round 3. Save it to the computer, and then it's ready to import into the AI tool. So I'll show you how to do that bit next. First of all, you've got to bear in mind when working with AI, it is incredibly intelligent, no common sense. That's the easiest analogy I can give you. ChatGPT in particular, very effective, very efficient, fairly quick actually, but it has a very low context window. It does not remember things over a longer period of time. It's prone to reset over a period of time as well. So anything it does recreate, ask it to create a downloadable version for you, have it on your system. So if it gets stuck, it can't recall what it did last time, you can give it your copy of the file and continue working with it. So straight away I said, look, I want to set up a project. This is what I want to achieve. Cool. This is what you want, Adam, basically. And I go, yep, that's what I want. Here are the files I'd like to give you. Let me have a look at what you give me when I give the file first. So let's make sure, step by step, what the tool is doing is actually what I want to see. Because it can really veer off at weird tangents sometimes. So I put out the first one, it pulled up a load of information on the teams, and I give it a bit of feedback after that. It gives you some suggestions, but that's fine. Because in this case, I gave it one, and it just analysed one of the teams the first time round. So I went, hang on a minute, no, both teams are in there. My team is this team's name. I'll share those later, but for now, just do that. So it updates the project overall, starts running the process again. On we go, and we start gathering information on some teams. What I did want to check is sometimes there's a limit to how much data and input you can give it in one go. So I was like, well, how many of these files can I give you? It suggested up to roughly 5, as there's 6 fixtures in my league per round. I've been giving it a lump of 3, let it process, give it the next 3, let it process, and then let it do all the analysis. So on we went, carried on giving it all the files. It started giving me all this information. Now, what it'll do, it'll say, oh, give me a few minutes. I'll get back to you in a sec. Give it nudges. Don't wait. If you wait, it'll never come back to you. Do give it a nudge. Sometimes there's a refresh, therefore it doesn't come round. Here we go. It's just finished, shockingly. And here we go. Keep going. I'm just going to keep scrolling down and down and down, so you don't need to trail through the whole thing. But then I gave it more inputs. I'd like to implement different type of trends reports, and this is what I'm going to be doing next. I want there to be sort of 4 to 5 round of fixtures before I do this. I'm wanting to start exploring what impact does a player's energy level at the start of the game have on their match rating. But I need a larger sample size. I need lots and lots of data to do that. Most players are very depleted at this point in the game. And then I'm going to, once I've started getting a bit of a working model, start adding variables like, okay, well, that team was way stronger than that team, so that's always going to have an impact on the match rating, and try and isolate really big outliers in terms of the data to see, okay, players above this match energy level perform better on average compared to this one, and start working out those parameters. I'm going to need a lot of data. I'm going to do it throughout the course of this season with one of my teams. And on we went. So we've now ended up with this version of this file. I need to change the hotkey on my recording process, because every time I press it, it changes something on what I'm working on. So if you wanted to set up your own version though, let me hop back over to ChatGPT, bring up the context window, new chat, here we go. So if I was going to do this, I'd be going, okay, can you, just a basic start, can you analyze this TXT file to gather the data? And then literally just add photos and files. You'll be able to get this from the ones you've already downloaded earlier. I'm just going to jump into mine and just pick one at random. We will have, where's one of my fixtures? We'll take that one, my first game fixture of the day. Just uploading. And let it set off. Let's see what it does. Now this is really, really easy for it to do. It's not very difficult for it to go through these files and have a bit of a tick through. What my AI will do as well, it will recognize work we've done previously. So it'll automatically realize that's my team because I've already worked with this model. I've been teaching it, I've been training it. And it starts pulling out all the data. What you can ask it to do is look for more data. Can you look for this? Can you look for that? It might not be there. It might be there. As you can see, it's recognized I've worked on these projects before. It knows I'm looking for these things before potentially. It's very intuitive. So the more you use AI, the more effective it will become. And that's effectively the process. You go through and add the match data again by pressing F12, going to the console window, copying the with formation. I think it's with formation. Yeah, with formations, right click, copy response, put it in a doc, upload it to the drive. And what you can end up with then is a very comprehensive set of tactics here, information, insights for you to consider when selecting who you're going to play. what I have started to do as well, it's not in this current iteration, I'm going to ask it after sort of round 4 or 5, what formations are managers rotating between potentially, because not every team stays the same every single game, to get a bit of some insight of what it might rotate to. If it's the first team's a 4-4-2, its second team might be a 3-5-2. I want to get those insights and get a bit of an idea. What I'll also share with you as well, I showed this in my last video, how I'm sort of loading up against other opponents and how I've been tracking my fixtures. I just want to say I've really appreciated all the support I've been getting on the work I've been doing. I'm getting a lot of messages on Discord and Twitter. I'm really enjoying having a conversation about all things MFL. I love people's different perspectives on how we go about doing this. So I had some queries and questions about how I'm sort of planning like this, which is just a rough rule of thumb. It's prone to change, but I'm just looking to map ahead of time to get an idea of, okay, I need to consider rotating. I'm playing a strong team here. I need to consider rotating. If I was playing a team that I had absolutely no hope of beating, I'd probably play my second team to keep my first team rested, things of that nature. The cup fixtures are out though, if you didn't spot that already. They've been added, I think last night I spotted. So I had a quick cursory glance at the teams that I've drawn in the cup. They looked very similar to me in terms of strength, as should be the case. But I've gone in and done the analysis myself. You could go to MFL Manager to do this, but I decided to do this myself, where I basically go to a club. This one here, for example, is one of the club teams. I export the CSV file. I import it on one of the tabs here. Be able to find it down here for you. Here they are. Imported it in, put in some cells where I just get it to work out the average of the top 11, the top 16 players, and then a very rudimentary, okay, how strong is my team compared to the others, to give me further insight as to, okay, I might consider rotation, I might not consider rotation, because as duly pointed out by some fellow managers when reaching out to me in Discord yesterday, the cup is a very good source of MFL, so I don't want to completely shoot it down, but my main priority with the Peacocks, my main team, I want promotion. Really want promotion. And it's easy to sit here, a can down the road, and go look at MFL Manager and go, hang on a minute, how have I ended up with a very competitive league like this, where my reserves team are in an arguably less competitive league? It's where the cookie crumbles, isn't it? A bit of a challenge to face up against all this stuff. So I've unmapped who I'm going to play in the cup games, because I want to do a bit more analysis, because the top 11, top 16... can sway things wildly. If they happen to have two 75 rated goalkeepers, say, alongside legends, everyone else is 70 and below, it skews the averages. And they're not going to play two goalkeepers in one game, can't imagine. So yeah, that's how I've been doing my analysis so far. If you get stuck, have any questions, want any support with it, feel free to hit me up. More than happy to discuss things about MFL. The reserves team got their first game tonight. We do, in fact, indeed now have the -2, quite rightly, as the late registration was kicked in there. As I recall, I think we've got a fairly... where is it? MFL Manager. I think we've got a fairly challenging league here. One moment. Peacocks. No, it's Peacock. There we go. Peacock reserves. Yeah, we're not the worst team in the league. I think I've recruited fairly well using the loan system. A couple of my own players. But there's a clear disparity between the bottom part of the league, middle part of the league, top part of the league. If only my main team had been bombed in this league. Oh well. Shit happens, I guess. Anyway, if you do have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm happy to discuss them further. Good luck in your fixtures that will be taking place tonight. I'm going to look to post these video around that time. So if you're looking to now analyse where you're currently up to in your league and what you can start doing to plan accordingly, feel free to make use of what I've shared with you today. If you are brand new, make sure you use a referral code when you do sign up. Mine will be in the comments. If you don't use mine, use someone else's. Do not miss out on that free common player. And I know everyone who's got a referral code would love to get their own common player and start making their way along these juicy timeline of these milestone rewards. Ooh, yes please. Yes please. But anyway, maybe one day I'll get one person invited. I promise you, I do have friends. I do. But anyway, thanks for tuning in today. Good luck in your matches tonight. Good luck in your cup fixtures as well, because I know they'll be starting soon. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.